You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button.
So we've got quite a challenge in front of us. One of the most talented teams in the league, LSU. Obviously, every year, we're one of the most talented athletic teams in the league. And so we got our hands full, but we're happy to be 2-0, and we're excited to get into conference play. And like every game, we'll know more about ourselves as a team and a program after this one.
That is Mississippi State head coach Zach Arnett gets ready to welcome in the LSU Tigers. Both Arnett and Brian Kelly were on the SEC coaches teleconference Wednesday morning, kind of giving some updates on his team. Brian Kelly, on the opportunity to go to Starkville and play at 11 a.m.
Our team understands the challenge in front of them. We're excited about the opportunity. Well-coached team. Zach Arnett has done a great job in utilizing the talent on his football team in a manner that he sees fit. It's a traditional offense that features an outstanding running game and, a veteran quarterback in Will Rogers. Defensively, it's a very difficult scheme. It's one that employs a lot of movement up front. Our team played well last weekend, played for 4 quarters. Now we look to kind of build on that going on the road against an SEC opponent.
First road SEC game, first true road game for LSU this season. Mississippi State has not had to leave Starkville yet. They played Southeastern and won. They welcomed in Arizona a week ago from Tucson and won that game in overtime, as we've talked about. And now it's the biggest challenge for LSU. Was interesting, though, is Brian Kelly also talked about expectations and big picture stuff for this team, which I'll get to in just a second because I thought that was real interesting. But a lot of people have asked realistic expectation for John Emery in his return. Of course, Emery is available to play for LSU against Mississippi State on Saturday. So what's realistic there?
He's in a much better place than he was last year at this time. Physically, mentally, I wouldn't say that there's any comparison to the John Emery from last year to the John Emery this year. He was on scout team for the last 3 weeks. He's physically fit. He's a plug-and-play guy. I mean, I think he's going to get as many carries as anybody would be in this situation where you have a deep and talented room. So I don't think he's going to be limited by, a conditioning element like we had with Mason. So we feel like he's ready to play and should be able to impact the game.
It's hard to imagine. I mean, I'll answer point blank. It's hard to imagine a scenario where John Emery gets more than 10 touches in the game or gets to that number. It stands to reason Logan Diggs is going to be your number one guy and probably get the lion's share of the work, along with Josh Williams, who's a veteran guy and they love. Everyone's high on Caleb Jackson, and rightfully so, but this is also the first road SEC game for the freshman, and you would hate to have to put him into a situation where he's not comfortable or experiencing that for the first time in a tough spot, especially when you've got veteran Noah Cain, veteran John Emery, Armani Goodwin still questionable, so we don't know if he'll be available. But you've got clearly options there. But getting John Emery work is the thing with John now is what it's always been. He has game-breaking potential. He's the home run hitter. He's not the guy necessarily you want to ride for 15, 20 carries a game, but he gets 5 touches and one of them he breaks for 35 yards. He's done his job. So we'll see what role John Emery plays this weekend. And it's a big weekend for LSU because it feels so much like a get-right opportunity. I guess what I mean is to say we all, after the Florida State game, and we, plural, collective, nationally, everyone looked at LSU and just dismissed and said, well, this team isn't the team we thought they were going to be. And part of my contention, at least theorizing, is I think Florida State's way better than we thought, and LSU was better than them for a half, and you're right in the game until the end of the third quarter, and the fourth quarter got away from you. But how it ended up isn't as bad necessarily as how it was for the first 3 quarters of the game. Credit Florida State. They were better. They won. They deserved to win. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is there's opportunity for LSU to improve, and they're not that far away unless you go to Starkville and you can't handle Mississippi State on the road. Y'all, LSU, as you look ahead, LSU is a 9.5 or 10-point favorite in this game against Mississippi State. Next week, the early line that I'm looking at is showing LSU 13.5 against Arkansas. It'd be a 2-touchdown favorite at home against Arkansas. The road game at Ole Miss Early line looks right now like it'll be LSU 4.5. My point is, you look at LSU and go, it's the point I made earlier this week, like, where's the L? Where's the game where you take your Sharpie and write an L? It ain't this week. It ain't next week against Arkansas. You're going to be a road favorite at Ole Miss. You're going to be a road favorite at Missouri. You're going to be a home favorite against Auburn. You're going to be a home favorite against Army. You're most likely going to be an underdog on the road against Alabama, but who knows what Alabama is going to look like when you go there in November. And after that, you're going to be a home favorite against Florida, who stinks, and you welcome in Georgia State, and then you're going to have Texas A&M, who they might have fired Jimbo by then. I mean, when you look at the S&P Plus rankings that have been updated for this week over at ESPN, Bama's 5. Look, I'm looking at LSU's opponents. Bama's 5. Florida State's 8. Ole Miss is 13. That's the highest ranked team aside from Bama you play. They got LSU at 16, A&M at 20, Mississippi State, your opponent this week, 23, Auburn 24, Arkansas 26. You see my point? Like, Florida 36. Where it's not to say Missouri 46 on this list. It's not to say LSU definitively is going to win out. It's just to say they can. The opportunity is there given the schedule, which is why I like this team at the beginning of the year to begin with. Veteran team, few questions, manageable schedule. Well, you have one gigantic glaring question, which is your secondary. Can they play good enough? Not can they be dominant, can they be elite, can they be good enough to complement a good front seven and what we think could be a really special offense as the season goes along. That's what we'll find out. But Brian Kelly said it point blank about what this team is capable of doing this year.
Keep in mind, we have 14 transfers, and we're playing freshmen on defense, so there's some young players that need to continue to grow. There's some transfers that need to continue to grow into our defensive structure. But this is a team that certainly can compete for the SEC West again, and we got to go on the road, and we got to prove that.
There's no reason, none whatsoever, to think LSU is not capable of winning the West. Of course they're capable of winning this division this year. And maybe there is a conference loss or two somewhere along the way. The same could also be said for Alabama with tripwire everywhere. So this weekend against State is going to be so telling, because that's a State team that forced 5 turnovers against Arizona. 5. And needed overtime to beat them on their field. You can't go into Starkville and beat that Mississippi State team at 11 a.m. You've got real sincere issues, and we all need to, me included, need to recalibrate what we think about this football team. You go win this game, you're right back on track. Go handle your business. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.